put a fighter in your corner.
And welcome to the Walton Law Firm Show. It's so good. I was going to say good for us to see them, but they can't really.
They don't know that we can see them. They really don't know we can see them sitting there in their drawers.
I can see you. But anyway,
drinking that beer,
drinking that beer, and that coffee. Make sure you put your dentures in.
Smoking that cigarette you're not supposed to be smoking.
You're not supposed to be smoking. Anyway, how you doing now, Trip?
I'm good. It's cold. It's cool. It's great.
Okay, yeah. Seasons are changing.
Seasons changing.
And today is a very frigid day.
Very chilly for October.
We're good.
It's like the old days.
Old days. Well, tell us about, you said this a couple of weeks ago about how we're filming the show right now. Can you, because I know they're crying because they don't see you every week.
Well, I'll say one thing, we get more questions, so I like that. It's going to give us something to talk about. It's going to be fun. We're so busy at the firm. They've got me working. We got they gave me a list of 115 personal injury cases. 18 of those are in litigation, which means getting ready for trial. We got 5 commercial truck cases we're handling right now, 59 criminal defense cases, which I'm handling by myself without any other lawyers. And I'm trying to just not hire lawyers. All these firms are trying to grow. I'm trying to stay small.
I understand.
And take a certain amount of cases and do a good job on those cases and good cases, as opposed to just taking everything that walks in the door.
Okay.
I don't really think that's the way to do business, but they can do it any way they want to do it.
Okay.
I'm sort of like taking certain things and being real good at it.
Understandably so.
You know what I mean?
All right. And I like how y'all did my college football team. You're the headliner. How y'all put it there?
I don't know if everybody knows, but Auburn lost again. But I'll say this. I was very proud of them because I picked them literally to get beat by 3 to 4 touchdowns. They were 3 touchdowns down before the game even got started. It was 21-0, and they fought back.
Right.
And I thought they did a good job. But they could have tanked it. The national press has been on them. The local press has been on them. Everybody's on there, on the coach. And
Billy
you know
Bob,
what? They did a dadgum good job.
Probably one of the best games we played all year.
Absolutely. I was proud. And that's after getting absolutely beat to death.
Right.
Although they looked pretty good against Georgia, but you just can't stay out there the whole game. When the offense is out there a minute and a half, the defense is going to get beat up. I don't care who they're playing.
Exactly.
They could be playing Lee Scott.
Exactly.
Or I was going to say Auburn High School, but apparently Auburn High School lost this week to Phoenix City.
Okay.
And they lost to Phoenix City last year. Phoenix City's pretty strong.
Yeah, they are.
Central.
Yeah. Great team.
But let's go back to Georgia. Georgia beat Vandy, but does not want to challenge Vandy in the spelling bee. They have turned down the offer from Vandy to go with the spelling bee.
Or a debate.
Or a debate, either one. So now Tennessee, as much as I despise Tennessee, it was fun to watch the game get back going. It was a great game. Alabama, I tell you what, their quarterback is something, and so is those are your top 2 Heisman candidates right there for sure.
Yeah. They definitely made a mark.
And
the receiver for Tennessee probably got his name somewhere around there.
He's strong. And I don't know what's going on with Alabama's defense.
Defense and 15 penalties. I don't know if that's coaching or what.
I mean, if they had won that game having 15 penalties,
it still would have been a loss.
That would have been terrible. I mean, it makes no sense.
Not at all.
I mean, you can't have penalties like that and win a game. So the fact they were even close, 3 points close, is a miracle.
Exactly.
But I'll tell you what, the difference in the Alabama starting quarterback and that other quarterback, who is great and good, is the difference between excellence and just good. Because Alabama's starter is exceptional.
He got out of some trouble.
He can do it, Jamie.
Yes.
He can do it. Let's see what else we got. We got high school football. I already mentioned Auburn High School lost their first game of the year to Central out of Phoenix City. In the 7A class, they got beat 38-17. Lee Scott, my old alma mater, is still undefeated at 8-0. They beat Valiant Cross, I don't know where they're from, 42-7.
Okay.
Chambers Academy over in Lafayette beat Macon East 56-20. And Springwood beat New Christian Academy 30-8.
30-8, good deal.
And now speaking of high school football, Kevin Dunn's son, J.
that?
Arthur Dunn,
Yeah.
recently was named homecoming king at Lagrange High School.
Very exciting.
I saw a lot of that on Facebook. It was good.
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah.
Good stuff.
People
Now,
probably
we didn't
glad.
have a homecoming king when I was.
They just started at Lagrange, I think, 3 or 4 years ago.
He's a good one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's good.
Thank you.
Okay, motivational section today comes from the Rocky movie 2006. And just to get in the mood for this, because I really didn't recognize the speech, I thought this speech was a speech that Adrian, Rocky's wife, gave him in the first or second movie, when maybe the third movie, when it was Eye of the Tiger, when he was quitting,
When he was
and gonna
quitting his
quit,
mind,
and
right.
she jumped his butt out on the beach.
Mhm.
But this is not. This speech was by Rocky to his son in one of the last movies.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
And this is Rocky. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You are better than that. And that was from Rocky to his son, trying to get his son to get up and get going, quit making excuses and whining and carrying on about man. Like the generation we deal with nowadays.
Oh, yeah. It's mine. Give it to me. I want it now. Got to have it.
I gotta
Can't
have
wait
it.
for
Go scream and holler, kick, throw a tantrum.
Yeah, 4-way stop. I don't care if I got up here last. I'm going first. But anyway, I saw it the other day, and I'm like, really? That's about 2 or 3 cars going behind each other at the 4-way stop. Anyway.
I had one the other day. I'm stopped at a big intersection, and somebody just goes around me and goes through the whole thing.
Yeah, that's it.
I never seen anything like
I
that.
ain't got to wait on nothing.
Nothing. I tell you, I almost had some rage, some road rage. I wanted to
I know.
snatch him out of the car
I know it.
and pound him,
Okay.
but it didn't.
You didn't. Okay. All right. We're down some questions.
What about some questions?
You don't have to pound nobody. We
No.
got you them because you still got it. It says, I watched your show the other day. You and Kevin keep up with sports. Did y'all see when Devonta Adams hit the photographer for no reason? Can he face charges, and can the photographer sue him? Just in case y'all missed it, I'm going to send a link. Also, keep up the good work. We enjoy watching y'all. That's John J. and Lagrange.
Devontae, he's having a bad day.
Okay.
But he was charged with a misdemeanor assault.
Okay.
It was called an intentional overt act that inflicted bodily injury, according to the court records released Wednesday. So we're already on the court records.
Okay.
Yes, he can be sued and will be sued.
Oh, definitely.
And he can be charged for a criminal act, and he has been charged. So I don't know what was. I guess he just felt like wanting to give away some money. Not to mention the NFL will punish him. I mean, they get on their players pretty hard. So I don't know, what was he thinking?
I don't know. Sometimes those emotions, they just don't know how to control them.
I mean, he had a bad day. He made it a worse day by acting a fool. That's not something you do.
Yeah.
It's best to calm down. Don't say anything.
Right.
Go to the locker room, change, go home.
Right.
If you want to pitch a fit, lay down on the floor at home and scream and cry like a baby if you want to, but don't do it in public.
So I didn't actually see this. So this was during the game, after the game?
After the game?
After the game.
Yeah.
Okay. After the game.
Yeah.
So
Now, he left Green Bay
Right.
and is at Vegas now. I
Right.
guess. So I could understand him being a little upset about that move. Although Green Bay,
They're not doing
well at all, but they're not doing well because Devontae's in Vegas.
Exactly.
Yeah, Green Bay.
But it was key about Devonta Adams, something you always said as it pertains to lawsuits. make sure when you're suing somebody, they got money.
They got money.
Devontae
It
Adams.
don't make
got
whether
money.
he's got. They don't make insurance ain't there. You don't need insurance.
Exactly.
You got his bank account.
You got his bank account.
So that is somebody who has made himself a target, who is a good target.
Yeah, I got you.
And it just was totally uncalled for. I mean, he could get popped there.
Right.
So,
Okay.
all right, what's next?
All right, next. Thank you for keeping the community informed. I often hear Trip talk about his dog biting cases. Roof, roof. I have a question for him. If your dog bites another person and the person dies, are you responsible and can you face charges? That's from Terry R. in Hogansville.
Absolutely, if the bite is the cause of the death.
Okay.
Now, if somebody was bit and they died of something unrelated, no. But we had a case, I think it was several years back in Lynette, a pit bull mauled a lady to death.
Mm-hmm.
And so pit bulls became outlawed in that city, and they're outlawed in a lot of cities, which amazes me how many people still have them and swear that they're the best pets in the world.
Wow.
But if a dog kills somebody, and it can be related to the bite, whether it be infection from the bite or the actual bite or hit a vein or whatever, or an artery, and bleed them out, whatever, yeah.
Okay.
So if you got a bad dog, the best thing to do would be get rid of it.
But that would even create more expenses if, because you have to go to an autopsy and all of that, just in case a dog bites and somebody has a heart attack.
Yeah.
But you got to pay more money to get that report, to even know that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, an autopsy normally is not done by the state unless there's,
Right.
I think it's a criminal act.
Okay.
And you can pay for an autopsy. It's run about $3,500–$4,500.
Okay.
Most people don't do that. They're already at the funeral and they've buried the body. When they go to a lawyer and they say, how do you know what caused the death?
Okay.
And,
Okay.
I've had one case where we exhumed the body, and when we did, we actually did it at night because we didn't want to stir up the community. And they did whatever tests were done, the forensic specialist, and we determined that there was no case.
Okay.
And that ran about $15,000.
When you say exhume the body, that means
Went out
take
to
it back
the-
out?
Yeah, went out,
Okay.
dug the body up, opened it up in the graveyard, had big lights and all that kind of stuff. A fancy scientist out there, doctor,
Wow.
going in the heart, looking at the heart.
Wow.
Determined that we couldn't determine what we were looking for, so
Okay.
closed her up, put her back down, and replanted the. Of course, we had the family permission. It was their case,
Okay.
and it didn't work out.
Didn't
That's
work
been, good Lord, 25 years ago.
Wow. That's incredible
Yeah,
that you're able to do that.
it was interesting.
Okay.
All right.
Next question is from Shatasha A. from Madville. Where's Madville? I guess it's people, I don't know. Anyway,
He was mad about it.
you're mad about it. How are y'all? Kevin, Trip, thank y'all for keeping us entertained. That's Trip. That's not me. I have a question I hope you can answer. If you if you hire a bootleg baker for your wedding, meaning they don't have a license to bake or be in business, and you get the cake and you hate it, and it's not what you asked for, can you sue them even if they don't have a license? Oh, she's Madville. I see why she's from Madville now.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's in Alabama or Georgia, Madville, but yes, you can sue them. Now, the defense may be, well, you should have known it wasn't going to be worth a hoot because they're not licensed, but not necessarily, because they may have a great reputation, and they may be, selling great bootleg cakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so you found out about them because 14 people told you they were the best, and then they had a bad cake. If you're in Georgia, you would probably sue them in magistrate court, which has a jurisdictional limit of up to $15,000. In Alabama, you'd probably sue them in small claims court, which has a jurisdictional limit up to $6,000. I'm assuming it wouldn't be worth more than $6,000 or $15,000.
Okay.
But yeah, you can sue them.
Okay.
And, I don't know that you get anywhere with it.
Okay.
And, two, filing a lawsuit costs money. So I don't know how much they paid for it. It would be interesting to know how much you paid for the bootleg cake.
Okay.
Just because I don't know what a cake costs.
Right.
Let's assume it costs $300
Mm-hmm.
or $350.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be worth the time and the money to sue them.
Well, exactly.
Certainly wouldn't be to hire a lawyer.
Okay.
But if you're going to do it on your own,
Different story.
why not? Go
Okay.
ahead and give it a go.
Okay. All right. Next question. This is from Tammy E. from Valley. And she says she was working for this company during the pandemic. And, of course, it shut down, but we didn't receive our last check. And they didn't rehire 4 of us. What can we do to get our money? And, by the way, they did get the PPP loan.
Well, the first thing I'd do is write them a letter, send them a demanding the paycheck. Second thing I would do is it's in Alabama, because Valley, Chambers County, I would file a little lawsuit in small claims court. Go down to the clerk's office, they'll have a form, and file away and take whatever evidence you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Milford would be the judge, just like TV court. You get to say what you want to say. The company gets to say what they want to say. The judge makes the decision. If you don't like the decision, I think you got 14 days to appeal it. But the small claims court is up to $6,000. So I'm assuming your paycheck was less than $6,000.
Okay.
It was only one paycheck. But you can do that. If you want to sort of see how small claims works, you can go to alabamalegalhelp.org. That's a website. Alabama Legal Help, all one word, .org. And it'll sort of tell you more about small claims court.
Okay.
And have fun doing it.
Have fun doing it.
You could go to an employment lawyer, but going to an employment lawyer, you're going to spend more than your paycheck is worth.
Okay.
Just hiring a lawyer. So a lot of these companies probably know that it's more expensive for you to pursue
right.
one check than
Right.
it is, so most people don't do it.
So we'll just keep it.
But anyway, do it yourself. Go to
Do it
small
yourself.
claims court.
Okay. All right. Next question reminds me of kind of like Lamont Sanford being at home with Fred. But anyway, this question comes from Mandy C. Lagrange. And she says, "Hey, Trip, I hope you are having a better day than me. I'm writing because I'm tired of my 37-year-old son in my home and won't get a job and won't help with bills. I know what my daddy would do. But anyway, I love him, but he needs to man up. How can I kick him out? Is there any law that can help me? I am single with no privacy. Help, Trip."
Well, Mandy, I have been there. I evicted my 28-year-old about 2 years ago and then made the mistake of letting him come back in for the weekend, and he's still in that house with my ex-wife and her new husband. I recently told him, I said, Forrest, I am selling the house in September 2024 when I can get it back. Part of the divorce was that my ex-wife and my stepdaughter could stay there until my stepdaughter graduated from high school, because I wanted her to be able to stay in the house she grew up in. And then I get it back. And of course, I'm paying for everything, so it's going to be like a big raise when I get it back.
Okay.
But when I get it back, I'm going to sell it. But I reminded Forrest the other day that he got to have somewhere to go. He's got a great job now, so he is at least working.
Okay.
I think what you would probably need to do, since this is in Lagrange, it's a Georgia situation, is go to magistrate court, file a dispository action. You need to give him notice to leave or to vacate the premises in writing. So make sure there's a witness there that says you give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have forms at the magistrate court. They can't really give you legal advice, but the forms are self-explanatory. You can also go to, let me give you a website like I did for the Alabama, georgialegalaid.org. That's georgialegalaid.org. Go to the dispository process, how to file and how to answer. I read it this morning. It's pretty interesting stuff. It's pretty simple. There's only one glitch. It's sort of like the glitch I had with my stepson. I couldn't figure out whether it was an unlawful detainer or whether what was what. So I went with the eviction in Alabama. I think it's dispository action here. But I'm not sure that you have a landlord-tenant relationship with him if he's never paid. So that's problematic. And so you might want to go speak with a lawyer somewhere here in Lagrange who does landlord-tenant type stuff. And there may be another way to go, but that would be my suggestion.
Okay. All right. There you go. You heard it first here on the Walton Law Firm
You
Show
did.
from Trip. Hey, man, you got some Alabama news and you want to talk about it a little
Well,
Victory
we got
Land?
Victory Land is whining because
They're just stealing the news all the time. Aren't they?
they got the electronic bingo shut down, and they want the Alabama Supreme Court to take a second look at their decision because it's going to have some serious. Basically, what the bottom line is, gambling is the #1 industry in Macon County. They help pay for the schools, they help pay for the roads, they help pay for everything. And when you take that away from them, they're not going to have any money. They're already the poorest county in the state.
Okay, I see what you're saying now.
So they're saying, please, let us, the one good thing we got going, let us do it. People want to come down here and gamble and give us their money, let them come on. We need it for our schools, we need it for our roads, we need it for everything. So hopefully, I mean, I just don't have a thing about gambling. I don't gamble, so it's not a problem.
Right.
You know, it's like I don't do drugs, so I don't have a problem, but a lot of people do.
They do? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not my call.
Okay.
Now, another thing going on in Alabama, a federal judge dismisses a lawsuit by Alabama death row inmate Kenneth Eugene Smith, who is scheduled to get the injection on November the 17th. He lost his bid to put a stop to it.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. He may not make Thanksgiving.
I shouldn't be laughing, but I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at what Tripp said. He said he may not make it.
Well, I mean, his death date's the 17th.
Yeah, that is.
And what is it? This is what his issue is. He says it's cruel and unusual punishment in violation of the 8th Amendment of the United States Constitution because they did not give him information necessary to knowingly waive his right to choose the execution by nitrohypoxia instead of lethal injection when inmates had the opportunity to make that choice in 2018.
Okay.
He didn't get to choose how to kill him, so he thinks it ought to be stopped.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I wonder if the people he killed, he gave any kind of choice to.
Okay. Duh.
Anyway.
There you go.
I'm not supposed to do that. Probably be a criminal defense lawyer. All right, Georgia.
All right.
Everybody needs to know early voting has begun in Georgia. Started yesterday on November the 4th. It doesn't start November. It lasts November the 4th. You can choose to wait till Election Day, or you can go ahead and vote early, whichever is easiest for you. Early, of course, is less crowded. The location probably is not going to be your regular location, so you need to check with the Georgia election website for your county's early voting location. Now, this is something everybody needs to know. It's almost as need to know as much as early voting, and that is Georgia is ranked the 10th spookiest state in the country. And, of course, Savannah has long been the spookiest city.
Okay.
So
as it relates to voting precincts, or just altogether?
Just spooky.
Okay.
In fact, Savannah, Georgia has long maintained a reputation for being one of the most haunted cities in the country, making it the go-to hotspot for any local ghost hunters. You couldn't go on the rest of the week without knowing that.
I couldn't.
And I've been there. I've been on some of those tours over there.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You feel spooked? You feel scared?
You know, I was scared to death of the driver in the vehicle we were in. But, it's a neat little weird town.
Okay.
Another Georgia news, Georgia's 13th in the nation for toxic chemicals. They dumped 5 million pounds of toxic chemicals into Georgia's waterways in 2020. So 2020 was a nasty. Don't get in the lakes and the ponds and the creeks.
Can we drink the water?
I wouldn't drink it.
Okay.
I wouldn't drink it.
That's why I have mine filtered.
Let's see if we got anything that might be exciting. We got United States Supreme Court. Let me touch on this real quickly. 5 cases for the conservative U.S. Supreme Court. One with the environment, they're going to decide whether or not the government can protect the nation's waterways under the Clean Water Act, which would be a good idea since we need clean water.
Right.
Affirmative action, they're challenging the race conscious admissions in higher education. There's been a lawsuit at Harvard and North Carolina. They want to end affirmative action, which, you know, are they going to, they keep flip-flopping every 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Election law, the justices will hear an election law case that could hand state legislatures sweeping new powers over how voting maps are drawn and federal elections are conducted. And then another voting rights case is a legal limit on alleged racial gerrymandering, which involves the drawing of voting maps in a manner that dilutes electoral, I can't read, power of racial minorities. And they're arguing that in front of the same thing in front of the Alabama Supreme Court this week.
Okay. All right.
You know, I thought they stopped doing that 100 years ago, but apparently they just can't stop.
Can't stop. Can't stop. Well, Trip, one last question. If they need to contact you and utilize your services, how can they find you?
They can find us in Auburn, Alabama at 334-321-3000 or waltonlaw.net.
All right.
I think.
You think? I believe that's where you can find it.
But and most people have my cell phone too. If you don't have it, just ask your neighbor.
Just ask your neighbor.
Most
And
everybody's
like a
got
good
it.
neighbor, Trip Walton is there.
That's good.
How you like that?
That's good.
Okay.
That's
All
great.
right. All right. Well, we thank you so much for watching. And Trip, give your parting words before we leave the people today.
Just remember, we don't start the fight, we finish it.
All right. Have a great day.
We don't start the fight, we finish it.
Car accident, DUI, wrongful death? Contact the Walton Law Firm, 334-321-3000.